Have you ever asked yourself why the kindest people often get the worst outcomes in relationships? Think about it. You give your heart, your time, your energy only to be ghosted, taken for granted, or worst of all, cheated on. If you've ever wondered why being a good person doesn't always get you the love you deserve, then this video might just flip your entire mindset upside down. So before we dive into the truth about kindness and why it may be silently destroying your love life, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, tap like, and most importantly, watch this video until the very end. What I'm about to share might save you from years of heartbreak and teach you how to love without losing yourself. Let's begin. I want to take you back to a moment. A friend of mine, we'll call him Adil, was one of the kindest people I knew, the type of guy who'd walk 10 blocks in the rain just to deliver soup to a sick girlfriend, the guy who always replied to texts instantly, always listened, never argued, never complained. In his heart, Adil believed that love was all about giving, that if you gave enough of yourself, someone would see your value and love you in return. He believed kindness was the glue that held love together. But guess what? His girlfriend left him for someone colder, more distant, someone who didn't care nearly as much. It crushed him. And when he asked her why, do you know what she said? "You were too nice, too available. I just didn't feel that excitement anymore." That one sentence shattered everything he believed about love and kindness. And unfortunately, Adil's story isn't rare. It's common. So let's unpack this. Number 1, the problem with being too kind. Let's be honest, most of us were raised to believe that being kind is the right thing to do. And for the most part, it is. But what no one ever tells you is that in relationships, kindness without limits can destroy you. I want you to think about a time when you gave your all to someone, emotionally, mentally, maybe even financially. You responded to every message. You were always there when they needed you. You adjusted your schedule, your priorities, your entire life, just to make them happy. But what did you get in return? A slow fade? Mixed signals? Or worse, being completely ghosted like your presence never meant anything. It's a brutal truth. But the world doesn't always reward kindness, especially in love. When you're too kind, too available, too giving, it starts to work against you. You slowly become predictable, and in the strange, twisted reality of modern dating, predictable equals boring. You see, human psychology is wired around contrast. We chase after what's uncertain, what challenges us, what keeps us engaged. But if someone always knows how you'll respond, that you'll always say yes, always forgive, always show up no matter how they treat you, the mystery dies. And where mystery dies, attraction follows. You might think being kind is the key to keeping someone, but what you're actually doing is removing the very thing that keeps their attention. Now let me be clear, I'm not saying you should stop being kind. Kindness is beautiful, but when it's not balanced with self-respect and boundaries, it sends the wrong message. It tells people, I don't need anything back. I'll just keep giving no matter what. And unfortunately, most people will take exactly what you give and then leave once it's no longer exciting. So if you've ever felt like your kindness gets you nowhere in love, like people, just use it and walk away. It's not because kindness is wrong. It's because kindness without power turns into self-destruction. And that's a truth most people only learn the hard way. Number 2, kindness often comes from fear, not strength. Let's go deeper. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you're being so kind? I'm not talking about the kindness that comes from your heart, the kindness that flows naturally. I'm talking about the kind that feels forced, the kind you give even when you're drained, tired, or secretly hurt. Because here's something most people won't tell you. That kind of kindness often isn't love. It's fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of being alone, fear that if you don't give enough, you won't be good enough to stay. You see, many people, especially those with deep wounds from childhood or past relationships, develop this belief that love must be earned. That in order to be loved, they have to constantly prove their worth. So they become overly kind. They tolerate bad behavior. They avoid confrontation. They keep giving and giving, hoping it'll make someone stay. But here's the harsh truth. That kind of kindness doesn't attract love. It attracts people who are willing to take but never give back. Because when your kindness comes from fear, it's no longer a gift, it's a transaction. You're giving love, hoping to buy security. But what you're really doing is teaching someone that your boundaries don't exist. And over time, you lose yourself in the process. You stop asking for what you want. You stop expressing how you feel. You stop being you because you're so busy trying to be whatever they need you to be. And that's not love. That's survival. So what's the way out? You have to shift the source of your kindness from fear to strength. True kindness says, I choose to be loving, but I'm not afraid to walk away if I'm not respected. I give because it reflects who I am, not because I'm scared of losing you. And that's when everything changes. Because when you're kind from a place of confidence, you stop begging for love, you start attracting it. People feel the difference. They're drawn to your calm, your clarity, your power, and they realize they can't just use you because you won't let them. So if your kindness has been hurting you more than helping you, maybe it's time to stop asking, why doesn't anyone appreciate me? And start asking, am I being kind because I'm afraid? Once you answer that question, your entire love life will begin to shift. Number 3, boundaries, the missing piece. Let me tell you a story. There was a girl named Hira, soft-spoken, warm-hearted, always smiling. She was the kind of person who would go out of her way to help anyone, and in relationships she gave everything. Time, effort, attention, emotional support, you name it. But every time, she ended up hurt, used, left behind, confused, and every time she'd ask herself, why does this keep happening to me? I'm a good person. I love deeply. I care sincerely. But what Hira didn't realize, what most kind-hearted people don't realize, is this. It's not kindness that's getting you hurt. It's the lack of boundaries around your kindness. See, boundaries are not walls. They're not about shutting people out or being rude. Boundaries are about saying, this is how I deserve to be treated. This is what I won't tolerate. This is where I draw the line. It's not about being harsh, it's about being healthy. When you don't have boundaries, your kindness gets stretched too thin. You keep pouring into people who never pour back. You say yes when you really want to say no. You let things slide that should have been addressed. And over time, people stop seeing your kindness as a gift. They start seeing it as something they're entitled to. Let that sink in for a moment. No one can respect what you don't protect. Think about it. Do you value water from a leaky faucet? Or do you treasure it when it's rare, controlled, and clean? Your love is the same. When you set boundaries, you teach people that your time is valuable, that your energy is sacred, that you're not here to babysit their insecurities or fix their brokenness while bleeding dry yourself. And something amazing happens when you start doing that. You begin to attract different kinds of people. People who respect your space, who match your effort, who honor your kindness instead of abusing it. So if you've been hurt over and over, if you've been kind only to be ignored or ghosted, don't stop being kind. Start setting boundaries around that kindness. Let it be something people earn, not something you give away freely out of fear. Because the truth is, love without boundaries isn't love. It's self-neglect. And you deserve better than that. Number 4, the attraction paradox. Now let's talk about something that feels completely unfair, but is painfully true. Have you ever noticed that the people who are less available somehow attract more attention? It doesn't make sense at first, right? You're showing up, doing all the right things. You're being present, supportive, honest, but they're drawn to the one who's aloof, distant, mysterious. Why? It's called the attraction paradox. Here's what it means. We are psychologically more drawn to people who don't give us everything up front. It's not because we love being hurt or ignored. It's because uncertainty activates desire. When someone is too available, the brain relaxes. It stops chasing. It assumes the person will always be there. But when someone has depth, edges, boundaries, when they're not afraid to walk away or say what they feel, that unpredictability sparks curiosity. Now don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean you should play games or pretend to be someone you're not. But it does mean that always being the nice guy or the always there girl can backfire. Because let's face it, if people never have to work for your attention, they stop valuing it. And this is where overly kind people get crushed. They think, if I just love harder, if I give more, they'll finally see my worth. But often the opposite happens. The more you chase, the more they run. The more you explain yourself, the less they listen. The more you show up for them, the more they disappear. Why? Because attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotion is triggered by space, tension, and mystery, not endless availability. So what's the answer? Stop trying to be the perfect partner. Start being yourself, a whole person with opinions, standards, and a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else. Be kind, yes, but also be unpredictable. Be bold, be real. Let them wonder what you'll say next. Let them feel the absence of your attention if they disrespect it. When you master that balance, kindness and mystery, warmth and strength, you become magnetic. Because people don't fall in love with perfection, they fall in love with presence. And presence is powerful when it comes with personality, depth, and self-respect. So if you've been asking yourself, why don't they choose me when I'm the kindest? Maybe it's time to stop being nice all the time and start being you, the real, raw, unfiltered version who knows their worth. Number 5. Kindness that inspires versus kindness that expires. There are two types of kindness in this world, and knowing the difference can change everything about the way you love. The first kind? It inspires. It lifts people up. It commands respect. It's rooted in strength and purpose. It comes from someone who knows their value and chooses to be kind, not to please, but to express who they are. This is the kind of kindness that people remember, that they feel. That makes them say, wow, I want to be better because of how this person shows up. Now the second kind? It expires. It fades. It gets ignored. It slowly turns into resentment. Why? Because it's rooted in neediness, in overcompensation, in fear. This is the kindness that says, please don't leave me. If I love you enough, you'll stay. If I just keep showing how much I care, maybe one day you'll see my worth. This is the kindness that feels more like chasing than giving, more like a performance than authenticity. And here's the painful truth. Most people can feel the difference. They may not be able to explain it, but emotionally they pick up on it. When your kindness is rooted in fear, it carries a subtle desperation, and that energy repels love. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever looked back at a relationship and thought to yourself, I did everything for them. I gave them my best. And they still left? That's a sign you were practicing the wrong kind of kindness. Kindness should never feel like a debt someone else owes you. It should never leave you empty. It should never come with a quiet hope that if you give enough, someone will finally stay. Because the truth is, people don't stay because of how much you give. They stay because of who you are, how you value yourself, and how you expect to be treated. Kindness that inspires says, I love deeply, but I won't love blindly. I'll be kind, but I won't beg. I'll give you grace, but I won't abandon myself to keep you. That kind of kindness doesn't get walked on. It gets respected. So the next time you catch yourself overgiving, over-explaining, or overextending just to keep someone in your life, pause. Ask yourself, is this coming from love or from fear? Because only one of those paths leads to real lasting connection. And if your kindness has been expiring, it's time to upgrade it into the kind that inspires. The kind that says, I'm not here to prove I'm lovable. I already know I am. Number 6, reclaiming your power. Let's talk about something most people never do after heartbreak. They never reclaim their power. You see, when you've been kind and gotten hurt again and again, it's easy to swing to one of two extremes. You either become bitter, vowing never to care again, or you become desperate, trying even harder to please the next person in hopes they'll stay. But both of those responses keep you stuck in the same cycle. You forget who you are. You forget what you deserve. You forget that your value doesn't decrease just because someone failed to recognize it. There's a story I once heard about a man who held on to a crumpled $100 bill. It had been stepped on, dirtied, torn a little around the edges. He held it up and asked, is it still worth anything? Everyone said, of course. It's still $100. That's you. No matter how someone mishandled your heart, no matter how someone treated your love like it was disposable, you are still valuable, still powerful, still worthy of the kind of love that doesn't require you to shrink yourself. But you have to take that power back. You have to stop thinking of yourself as the victim. You're not someone who got hurt because you were too kind. You're someone who got hurt because you didn't know how to protect that kindness. There's a big difference. And when you own that truth, you stop seeing your past as failure and start seeing it as feedback. You stop saying, why does this always happen to me? And start saying, what is this teaching me about how I show up? Maybe you gave too much too fast. Maybe you ignored red flags. Maybe you thought love meant rescuing someone instead of growing with someone. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you aware. And awareness? That's your superpower. Because the moment you stop handing your self-worth to someone else, you start building a life where your love is a blessing, not a bargaining chip. So reclaim it. Reclaim your voice. Reclaim your standards. Reclaim your power. The next time you're in a relationship, show up with kindness, yes, but also with clarity. Don't just ask, how can I make them happy? Ask, is this person capable of meeting me where I am? Do they deserve my softness? Because when you stop chasing love and start honoring yourself, love stops running. It starts finding you. Number 7, rewrite your love story. Let's pause here for a moment. What if I told you the story you've been telling yourself about love, about kindness, and about why people leave, you've been telling it wrong? Not because you meant to, but because no one ever showed you a different way. You see, we all carry around stories shaped by past relationships, heartbreaks, family dynamics, childhood wounds. And if you've been hurt while being kind, if your love has been met with silence or betrayal, then chances are your story goes something like this. If I'm kind, I'll be abandoned. If I love too much, they'll take advantage. Being good means getting hurt. But here's the truth you may not have considered. Kindness was never the enemy. What hurt you wasn't your kindness, it was the people you gave it to. It was the version of yourself that didn't yet know how to set standards, how to walk away, how to guard the gates to your heart. You don't need to become colder. You don't need to build walls so high no one can reach you. You just need to rewrite the story. You need to replace those inner beliefs with new ones like, my kindness is powerful, but it's not for everyone. I give love freely, but I don't chase. I can be soft and still have boundaries. I can be kind and still say no. You are not broken because your love wasn't returned the way you hoped. You were simply in the wrong chapter, with the wrong character. But here's the beauty of it all. You're the author. You get to decide how the next chapter goes. You get to stop being the person who waits to be chosen and start being the person who chooses. You get to stop proving your worth and start protecting it. You get to show up in love from a place of wholeness, not hunger. And when you do that, something amazing happens. The same love you used to give to the wrong people, it begins to reflect back to you. You begin attracting people who don't need convincing to see your value. People who say, I respect how you love and I want to meet you there. But it starts with a decision to stop letting your past define your present, to stop believing you're too much or too kind or too emotional, to own your softness like a strength and write a new story, where your love is not your weakness, but your power. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Your story doesn't end with heartbreak. It begins with healing. Number 8, your next step. We've covered a lot, and if you've made it this far, I want to speak to you directly, heart to heart, because I know this wasn't just a video for you. This was a mirror showing you the patterns you've been stuck in, the pain you've tried to hide, the love you keep giving away without knowing how to protect it. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, where do I even begin? Here's where. You begin by taking your power back. You begin by realizing that kindness is not your downfall. It's your light. But light without direction can blind. So you have to learn how to focus it. Aim it, protect it. That means setting boundaries and sticking to them. That means loving yourself so deeply that anyone who doesn't meet your standard feels out of place in your life. That means no longer confusing attention for affection or consistency for commitment. And above all, that means you stop begging for love, because the kind of love you deserve isn't earned through overgiving. It's not something you convince someone to give you. It's something you attract when you finally realize, I am enough. Just as I am. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit into someone's world. You don't need to fix people. You're not their project. You don't need to give 1,000 chances to someone who's already shown you their pattern. Your next step is simple, though not easy. Stop proving. Start protecting. Protect your peace. Protect your energy. Protect your love. Because the world needs your kindness. It needs your softness. But it also needs your strength. It needs people who can say, I will love you deeply, but not at the cost of losing myself. So as you move forward, I want you to carry this with you. Be kind, be soft, be real, but also be wise. Your kindness isn't what ruins you. It's what saves you. When you finally learn how to use it well. So, what do we take from all this? Kindness is not the problem. It never was. What breaks you isn't your ability to love deeply, it's forgetting to love yourself just as fiercely. You were never too kind. You were never too much. You were just giving the right love to the wrong people, without boundaries to protect it. But now you know better. And when you know better, you do better. Don't change your heart, just guard it. Don't stop being soft, just be smart about where you place your softness. Don't close yourself off. Just stop opening the door for those who knock with empty hands. Because the love you're looking for isn't found in sacrificing yourself. It's found in becoming the kind of person who never settles again. So stay kind. But from now on, stay strong too. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time.